Hello, Gaston County. Welcome to episode number 173 of Gaston's Great, a podcast highlighting some of the great things happening in and around Gaston County. I'm your host, Stephen Long. We're coming to you once again from the international headquarters of GSM Services right here in downtown Gastonia. We simply believe in discussing more of the reasons why Gaston's great. We have another great guest today. I'm very happy to have Brent Messer on the podcast today, who is the founder and owner of Facet Foundry Jewelry Studio here in Gastonia. He's also a fellow Rotarian and also just involved in a lot of community activities. So again, so there's multiple things I really want to talk about. So I'm looking forward to hearing about his leadership and community journey. So Brent, it's great to have you on, and welcome to the podcast.
Glad to be here, and Stephen, I can't tell you how honored I am. I'm simply not worthy to be here at the international headquarters of.
Yeah, it's impressive here in this non-sound studio, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the crystal chandeliers and all are just over the top.
Yeah, you have to show me those when you leave so I can figure out where those are. But also that does remind me, I had a note here, Brent actually was on way back in April of 2021, episode number 3, so 170 episodes ago. I think that was, we had Rotary on. I think, is that when you were president, or was it about, yes, we had Rotary on. I think it was you and Benny.
Yep. Yeah, we were talking about COVID. I had the honor of being a COVID president.
That's right.
Vinny caught the just the beginnings of COVID at the tail end of his presidency, and then I got the full dose.
Yeah, that's right. Because I remember I was, at that time was just weird, because I was, back-to-back years, I was chair of the board of two organizations, one in 2020 and one in 2021. So that was just two nonprofits here in town. That was just a strange time. So anyway, Rach, you got to keep us on track, because Brent and I would just go off track. And so sorry.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'll say with that, with the Rotary each year there's a theme, and the theme for my year was that Rotary creates opportunity, but really the theme for that COVID year was figure it out.
Hang on. Yeah.
Figure
that's a good point.
Figure it out, because we were all in unknown territory.
And we did, frankly, and we did.
Right, and the challenge with that was, how do you keep this 100-year-old organization, which it was its 100th anniversary at that time, how do you keep that going and keep the membership involved? Some members just want us to totally just stop and put it on hold, but there's a risk to that.
Oh, sure.
That getting momentum back. So that was the challenge, and then we had to learn new technologies, Zoom meetings, hybrid meetings, social distancing. Nobody knew, how is this thing spread.
Yeah, it was just a strange time.
And we actually lost 2 members during that time, sadly.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that was quite a challenge, but we got through it. And it's kind of like a theme, well, throughout everybody's life, but with my business, there have been times where you had to figure out how to make lemonade out of the lemons.
Yeah, I think if you're a business owner and you're around long enough, you're fortunate to be around long enough. Yeah, those ebbs and flows and those ups and downs are more often than I would like to say.
Oh yeah, and as you know, you can really get hit sideways by
things out of your control sometimes.
Can come up. Yeah.
So we'll get into a little more of that, I hope. But, this first question we'd like to ask Brent is, just for our listeners, just tell us a little bit about yourself, anything that you'd like to share, and then we'll get into a few more specifics.
Well, I'm a native of Gaston County, native of Gastonia. I grew up off of Alton Road on Rhineland Street.
Exactly where it is, off North New Hope.
Yep, off North New Hope Road. And Alton Road at that time, it was the road out to the landfill.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath, little brick house at the end of a dead-end street. And it was a wonderful childhood. playing in the woods, building tree houses.
Because that was probably close out in the country back then, wasn't it?
Well, I remember, Stephen, when I guess you start really remembering when you're like 4 or 5, something like that. So I remember when our street was dirt, and we would play marbles out in there. Draw a circle and play marbles, and they would throw somebody in jail for this today. So occasionally the oil truck would come and drizzle used motor oil on the street to keep the dust down.
Yeah, I'm
and
pretty
so
sure
and then the kids are out there. We're playing in this old,
that's a good point.
contaminated dirt. But it made us tough.
Yeah. Well, growing up in the 70s and 80s, we were just tougher then, much tougher than these kids today.
Oh yeah, this was. I was born in '61, so in the
60s and 70s,
late '60s and all. But but we learned how to do things, and at that time there really weren't a lot of organized sports and things like that. You'd start out on Saturday morning, you'd go around and round up all the kids in the neighborhood and see how many could come out. And are you gonna have a ball game today? Or are you gonna take a hike in the woods and explore? Or just kind of depended on the level of participation.
Yeah, we had some. I grew up on Fern Forest Drive, and across from Lineberger Park. So, man, we had some great trails to go riding our bikes, and just great neighbors. And we would, to your point, especially in the summer when we were young, we would leave. I'd leave the house, and I wouldn't come home until dark.
Oh yeah, that was the rule.
Yeah,
I had 2 things: be home by dark, or if I heard my dad's whistle. He had the loudest whistle, not with
his own whistle,
tool, his own whistle,
yeah.
his mouth. And I don't know what the time frame was, but I knew that when I heard that whistle, wherever I was, I had to take off running as fast as I could.
So for some reason whistle was going off. Huh?
There was some clock in his head that if I didn't get there quick enough, there could be consequences.
So, Rachel, did your parents let you just wander around in the summer by yourself from time you got up until dark? No? Yeah, we didn't either with our kids. So,
Well, and this is something else that never happened today. So, my best friend at the time, we liked building models, and I think that's kind of the start of what I ended up doing.
Oh yeah,
working
that's a good
on
point.
little things and all. And I was severely nearsighted, so I could see things pretty close up. But so we'd save our allowance up, and we'd like to go to John's Toy and Hobby Shop to buy models to work on and that kind of thing. And, we depended on our parents to take us there. Well, in the summer, we decided, we'll just walk. So we walked from...
Is this when it was at Gaston Mall or?
No, this was at Acre Center.
Acre Center, okay.
Acre Center, and it was right like 2 doors down from Patty Cake Bakery.
Yeah.
So we
just
walked
walking right down New Hope Road.
New Hope Road, down past where the mall eventually was. That was a farm cow pasture there where the Eastridge Mall is today. But we walked there, and later on we'd ride our bike there.
Yeah.
There's no adult with us. We were probably about 10 years old at the time,
Oh, yeah.
something like that.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good times, Rachel. Doing our own thing. Yeah, we did that too. So,
but it teaches you, it taught us independence.
Yeah.
And how to figure things and how to figure things out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, there was good and bad with that. I mean, I'm not going to say that it was all great, but parents sure didn't know what we were getting ourselves into either.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not going to go there. So, I'm sorry, anything else besides that you want to share real quick?
So in that area, I went to Flint Groves Elementary School. Okay. And again, I would get dropped off in the morning, but we would walk home from school. And then later went to Highland Junior High. And Highland used to be, it was the old black high school.
Yep.
And after integration, it was made into a junior high. And I was in the neighborhood that was primarily white, and we took the bus over to Highland. So that was culturally very different from grown up. So, but it ended up being a great experience. In fact, and I'll get back to this, going there helped lead me to what I ended up doing for my career. But after that, went to North Gaston High School in Dallas, and you know, at that time, high school was 3 years. So North Gaston was so pitiful, sports, football-wise. The 3 years I was there, we won 3 games. So people would come out to the games to watch the band.
So, you know what? I think the 3 years that I was at Ashbrook, I think we may have lost 3 games in that 3-year period.
Yeah. So anyway.
And that wasn't due to me. I didn't play football in high school, so it was due to other people.
But it was a good experience. Then from there, I ended up going to. I started out. I was interested in nature and rocks and things like that. At one time, I thought I was going to be a forest ranger or something like that. And then I was kind of got interested in geology, and I thought, okay, geology, that'd be cool. So I was all set to go to Western Carolina. They had a good geology department. Well, I ended up in 12th grade, my senior year, I had an extra hour, a free hour, and I could either leave early or take just an elective class.
Sure.
And going back to Highland, there was a wonderful art teacher there by the name of Jim Biggers. And he had a wonderful program. He would expose kids to all different kinds of forms of art and all that. And I've always been kind of a creative kid, you know, being kind of feral, you know, building tree houses.
Feral's a good description.
Building stuff and all, and putting together models, and you know, I would make pot holders and take and sell around to the neighbors and stuff like that.
Early entrepreneur.
Yeah, a little entrepreneur. You know, pick blackberries, sell a can of blackberries for 50 cents. You know, so anyway, he made an impression. Now, I had not taken art in high school until I had that free class. And so
that's interesting.
I said, so, okay, I remember, you know, art class, Mr. Biggers, that was fun, and I thought I was pretty decent at it. So I took an art class with Al Harris, Mr. Harris, there at North Gaston. And as I got into it, I said, I really like this, you know, and I thought about my path, and I'm like, I'd like to do something with art. Well, you know, at that time, like, okay, what do you do with it? Well, you got this person in front of you, art teacher, I'll be an art teacher. So Appalachian has a really fine art education program. So I switched gears. Now, later, my parents would tell me that was easier said than done, because we'd already kind of, you know, our path that we were headed toward Western. So ended up going to Appalachian up in Boone, and that was a great experience, you know. But there, again, the path kind of changed. And I've become a believer that a lot of times people control their path completely, but it seems like most of the time the path kind of leads you.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
So
we think we have a path.
Yeah, we think we have a path. You might head off the general direction, but you know, where you actually land up depends on a lot of different circumstances.
And it's not a straight line path either.
No. So there was this art instructor, Dr. Harold Caron. He taught jewelry. And so I'm like, okay, I like working on little things. And, you know, so I took a class, and I'm like, this is really cool. I like this, you know, working with metals and things like that. I would work with my uncle was a welder. I'm going to take a tangent here.
Okay.
Okay. So to help pay for my college and all, my uncle, Mike Price, who's into horse, he has Price's Arena. He would be a good interview, by the way. So anyway, he was a welder and worked primarily on water towers and things like that. Well, he would put me on his crew in the summer, wherever it happened to be, as a welder's helper. And I would make enough money in the summer to pretty much pay for my tuition.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing here, yeah.
Yeah, so you could do that at that time.
Yeah.
It wasn't so out of sight. That
Correct. That's a great point.
So
it was.
So we could do that, which allowed me to come out of college with no debt and anything like that. So I liked working with metals and all, and I would do some welding and all, and I used a cutting torch quite a bit. So used to working with little models when I was growing up. Now I'm working with big metal and stuff like that. So jewelry kind of made sense for me, So I liked that. I took another class. Well, he had developed a program at Appalachian called art marketing. He had seen the need for these people taking these art classes and all. How are you going to monetize this? Okay, how are you going to make a living with it? So he developed this program.
How to turn your passion into something that you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to fit that stereotype of a starving artist.
That's
okay?
right.
That's bunk. So, so he created this program to help people that were in the arts become a little more business savvy. And so he put together a program. It had a business minor that ended up being attached to it. So I was able to kind of plan my classes to where I ended up with 2 degrees, one in art education and one in art marketing. I did my student teaching with the education program, and then did an internship for the art marketing. And the student teaching, I was at WC Friday,
okay,
junior high with Brenda Boston at that time, was the art teacher there. And then the internship for the art marketing was up above West Jefferson.
Oh, yeah.
With
almost in Virginia, huh?
Almost in Virginia, and it was a really cool experience that summer. It was the 2 couples, and they had created a company called Hollercraft, and this is they made handmade sterling silver jewelry. And it was 2 couples that they were basically like hippies, okay? And they would work all year long making all this sterling jewelry. And this is before sterling jewelry was really popular in the Southeast, okay? It was very popular in the Northeast. So they would work all year long making this jewelry. And then 5 weeks before Christmas, they had one other person that would come help them with it. They all split up, and they go to 5 different malls and set up a kiosk and sell all this jewelry that they'd made all year long. They would make their entire year
in
those 5 weeks.
Before Christmas.
Before Christmas. So
wow.
So anyway, they had me there.
That would scare me to death.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Not the business model I would
recommend
or ended up doing. But it taught me a lot, because I would they'd have me say making 50 pair of earrings, all exactly the same,
Yeah,
and things like that, because it was more production. So that was a good experience. So toward the end of my time at App and with the student teaching, I did that and all, I had gotten a part-time job with Doug Harris, who was a young jeweler at that
here
time,
in Gastonia, right?
Here in Gastonia. Yep. It was on 2nd Avenue. And I worked for him, and he and his wife, Luann, and he gave me that opportunity and taught me some things with repair and that kind of thing. And I really took to it. I'm like, I like this. So when it came time to, okay, Brent, you graduated, what you going to do? I felt comfortable with the jewelry. I'm like, I like this. Even though, like the people I'd worked with, with the student teaching that was successful, Brenda thought I'd be a wonderful art teacher. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I was drawn toward the jewelry, ended up there. From Doug's, I ended up working for a jeweler in Shelby called, his name was Reed Lowry. It was called Lowry's Limited. And this is where sometimes things happen that really, again, the path picking you. So the first thing was that Reed needed to hire another jeweler. And so through one of the jewelry business publications had put an ad out there. And one day he came into the shop. It was me and 2 or 3 other jewelers there. And he said, I think there's a guy that I couldn't really understand much of what he was saying, but he's on his way here from Alabama to do a bench test. Just show us what he can do. He's a jeweler, and he's foreign. He's from Turkey. And so this guy came up, and after he worked about 3 hours showing us what he could do, which was amazing, I told Reed, I said, Reed, you need to hire this guy, because even if he's here with us 6 months, all that we're going to learn is going to be amazing. So his name was Shreya Cam from Izmir, Turkey. Now, Shreya would point out that we think things here are old when they're 100 years old or 200 years. We're about to celebrate our 250th anniversary of this country. Izmir has 3,000 years of jewelry making history. So he was excellent. He was a master jeweler. And to be a master jeweler there, you can't just call yourself that. You have to, there's a guild, a goldsmiths guild, and you have to pass a lot of tests and all. And he was, I think, at 28, he was the youngest person to become a master jeweler in Izmir. So we had the good fortune to having him work there with us, and I had the great fortune to work beside him for about 2.5 years.
Okay.
He taught me.
What time frame are we talking about now?
This would have been in the mid to late 80s.
Okay.
So that's where I really learned jewelry making.
Like so many things, I've learned everything from my business. 95% of it has been after college.
Oh yeah. So as far as the techniques and the tricks and all, I really learned from Shreya. You know, what I learned at Appalachian was just
important, but
it was giving you a taste,
right,
and all,
and how to live on your own, and how to work hard, and how to finish something. Yeah, that's what how I view college. Yeah,
right. You're putting under the, I guess, on the anvil and hardened.
Yeah, well, you got to figure it on your own too. That's a big part of that.
So I had the good fortune of that. So, and then the next thing was that, in 91, we hit a bit of a recession. And as you know, with a business owner, sometimes you have to make decisions that you don't want to make.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are things out of your control that can happen where, the economy's humming along, going well, and then it's not. And you're having to make some hard choices, and sometimes that means having to cut payroll.
Sure.
And Reed had to do that. And so I was probably the highest paid employee at that time. I had moved more from working at the bench to working out front, selling and designing custom jewelry, because my ace in the hole, or the ace up my sleeve, was my drawing ability. So I could listen, and I think I'll say my listening ability. So I'd listen to what a customer was wanting and imagine it in my mind, and then sketch that out on a piece of paper. And people see that like magic.
Yeah, that's not a common skill necessarily.
So that was my niche, and and today with my own business, that's pretty much what I do. But I was doing that for him, and he felt like that. Well, he could go without having that ability in house. So he called me in the office one day and said, "Brent, I need to talk to you." I mean, okay, got lots of stuff going on. Well, he's gonna have to let me go, and I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking in my head, I got a 3-year-old and a almost 1-year-old at home. Okay, all right.
That's a hard thing to hear.
Yeah, and then I'm like, well, I got a lot of stuff in the works. Do you want me to, work a couple weeks or a month, whatever, to help? No, you can leave today.
Yeah, business can be something special.
And so, anyhow, I beat the bushes. At that point, I approached the different jewelers in the area. Nobody was really interested in having a custom jeweler in-house at that time. And I thought about teaching again. So I said, well, I'll test the waters with teaching. So I subbed for all the art teachers in the county. I put the word out that I was available, and I subbed from 2nd grade to 12th grade. And it was challenging. Some of it was really fun, and I applied for a position, but because I didn't have teaching experience, I had other real life experience. It went to someone else that had more teaching under their belt, and so I took a little sales job because, again, got 2 young kids. My wife, fortunately, is a nurse, and we had that income coming in, and we've always lived under our means, so we were making okay. But I didn't like getting unemployment, benefits. I don't know, something about it, but
sure,
I was glad it was there. But still, this is after several months, and I took a little sales job that was selling gift items, baskets and stuff to florists and gift shops and stuff like that. It was pure commission, okay? And so I'm calling on these people, and, in conversation, you talk about what you did. And I was like, well, I was a jeweler and all that. Oh, well, I've got this ring that it needs so-and-so. I can't find anybody to do it. Or I've got this idea to make something, but I can't find anybody to do it. I've got this silver jewelry I need repaired, but they tell me they don't work on silver. And so I kept running into that. And so one day, I went into, I don't know if you remember the plaque rack.
Yes.
Miss Banner. And so I called on Miss Banner at the plaque rack. And I was talking to her. She was one of these that she needed something done. She couldn't find a jeweler that could do it. Or they'd tell, well, it can't be done or whatever. And I'm looking at them like, well, that's easy. With some of the tricks that I learned from Shreya, the Turkish jeweler, and I'm like, that's no problem. So I got back out in the car, our little Cavalier that had the fabric on the ceiling.
Oh yeah,
it's hanging down.
Yeah. I remember that distinctly on some of those vehicles.
So anyway, I got in the car and I said, I'm 30 years old, and jewelry's really what I know best at this point in my life, and I think I'll give it a shot. I still have some contacts with some sales reps that I met. And I'm going to I'm going to see if I can make a go for it. And I started putting together a little business plan, how I'm going to do it, looking for a inexpensive space, and all, because, my.
So this was 91, roughly?
This was end of 91. Really, when I made this decision, would have been in 92.
All right.
Okay.
So is this what led to Facet Foundry?
Right, this is what led to it.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out, how to get dollars. So I checked with an acquaintance that I'd met in the past through the Art Guild, and I guess we crossed paths maybe at the Gaston County Museum some, but a wonderful metalsmith, artist, sculptor, Jan Craft. It's Jan Craft Chambers now. And so she had a little office doing repair and custom and doing her creations, a little office park off of Garrison. And so I approached Jan and said, Jan, if you need help with anything, I'm here. I'm like, remember the Bob Newhart show?
Yeah.
Larry, Daryl, and Daryl.
Yeah.
Anything for a buck.
Yeah.
So anything for a buck,
Yeah.
Janny, got anything, crumb you can throw my way, I'll, gladly take it. So, but we got to talking, and we were talking about this concept of presenting jewelry as an art form. And I told her what I was wanting to do, and the more we talked, we said, well, okay, how about we do this together? So we pooled our resources, and and my dad worked at the gas company, and Mom was an executive secretary, and their parents, my grandparents, all worked in the mills. So there wasn't a history of having funds out there.
Sure.
Generational wealth. So we scraped together, I think, between us about $10,000 and found a spot on the back side of Milano, the building that Milano's is in.
Yep.
On the very end, and I found the old lease agreement the other day. It was $400 a month for rent.
That's funny now, yeah, to think about that.
So anyway, I did the upfitting and put up walls, ran wiring, all that. Did I get a permit? I'm not sure about that.
So how long were you guys there? How long was
So we were there. So Jan and I started. She knew a lot of people in the community, and so that's how we got our start. And so we were on the backside of Milano's for 2.5 years.
Okay.
And things were growing,
Yeah.
and we're like, we really need to be kind of have front visibility, road front.
It does help.
visibility.
It does help with that, especially that type of business, I would think.
Yeah, but we had it looking really nice. I mean, people would walk in and like, oh, this is really cool, So the owners of the building at the time, Rudy Flint and Wilson Perkins owned the building. And the space above us was a tanning bed company, and then Milano's was next to that. Well, so that space was directly above us. I think they were looking to not continue or whatever.
Yeah.
So they let us know, okay, that space was available. And so
on the front side, right.
being the creative people that we were, we said, okay, we'll just put in a spiral staircase. And we kept the downstairs as shop and office space, and then had the showroom upstairs. And so that worked for 10.5 years. And then and at the 5-year mark, Jan and Scott, her husband Scott, had a child, and she wanted to spend more time with her and all. And so anyway, I approached Jan about buying her part, and we just went out to dinner one night, worked out an agreement, and then had our attorney slash friend Danny Kirsch draw up the papers and the agreement, and it was very amicable. And so anyway, I was solo then at that point. So in 2005, though, I'd been looking for a location that had better visibility and a better configuration, and I got wind that John Bridgman was building this building that was going to have Talbots in it in front of
more south
City
New Hope
Club.
from where you were, right?
Yeah.
I mean north, more north. New Hope. Sorry, yeah.
But sharing the building with Talbots, hey, that's great. Women go to Talbots, and there was another women's clothing store there, Julie. So anyway, we made that move, and that was successful. And
So that's been 20 years ago now?
20 years ago.
Wow.
And then
Just doesn't seem like that.
no, and then in 2011, Julie's relocated over there where the Target, the old Gaston Mall area. And so at that point, I had to make a decision: do I expand, because we had a lot of pressure to expand, or wait and possibly miss the opportunity to have that? Because you have a lot, as you have a lot of upfit costs and all that, and you move, you can't take that with you.
For our listeners, just for their benefit, what's the actual address if people don't know where you are?
So it's at 530 South New Hope Road.
Okay.
I call it the middle of the banking district.
You got South State and what else? Bank of America.
Bank OZK is straight across, right across the street.
Yeah.
You got PNC Bank, Bank of America, the bank next door.
Used to be Carolina Commerce, but it's not that anymore.
People,
United Bank, actually, I think it even has sold since then, right?
Yeah, it's changed hands. But I tell people you can throw a rock in any direction and hit a bank.
Yeah, and not far from the Community Foundation new
building,
and
then
that
also,
area.
It ends up, we're between the two major bridal shops in town, Poffy Girls and Bedazzled. And they're kind of behind us diagonally and in front of us diagonally.
That's a good point.
If you draw a straight line between both of them, we're right in the middle.
That's a good place to be for a jeweler, huh?
You're not kidding. Not bad. So anyway, it's worked out well. We expanded. We've had different product lines and things. We carried Pandora for quite a while. That helped get us through the recession. And during the recession, and again, this is where you have to make lemonade. I remember when they were talking about that in 2008, that the recession wind was blowing, and this has potential to be bad. But I got my staff together, and I said, and I had a plan. I said, look, they say we're going to have a recession, but I'm telling you, I refuse to participate.
Yeah, that's been our view as well.
We're going to control what we can control. And so at that point, I put together a plan to start buying metals, gold, silver, that kind of thing, from folks. And from that, and at the same time, we had Pandora, which was growing. So those two things really helped us get through that. And it eventually led to us developing an estate jewelry department, which has become huge for us. So anyway, just with your business, as you go along, you've discovered ways to have different revenue streams.
Sure.
And
all to pivot and all kinds of things.
You do. One thing we had was when they were widening the road. They've been talking about they were widening New Hope Road in front of us. Well, I talked to other jewelers in the industry that had happened to them, and it put them out of business. So I'm like, oh, crap. How bad is this going to get? So when they started that, I had an epiphany one day. I said, we're going to take ownership of this road widening. And so I made a sign, an orange sign that had like the black and white little ribbon around the corner. And I found an image of a construction worker with the yellow hat, and he's holding out a stop sign. And I put that on the sign. And I put our Facet Foundry logo on the sign. And this is where being an art major comes into play. You have to be creative. So we embraced it and called it the Jewelry Construction Zone, and had signage up. I've got a couple orange cones to put outside the door, put up above the doors, jewelry construction.
Yeah, so you took advantage of what was going on around you.
Yeah. So,
well, this is I'm gonna ask you to just pause a little, because you just answered the first 4 or 5 questions I have about your business. What we like to hear is that journey, so others out there can understand that. Gosh, the path to get where you are today was just in this. I think for most business owners too, it's just unique, right? It's a unique journey and a path, and but can you, since you answered all those questions without me having to ask them really about your business, let's just jump into, because I know, knowing you from Rotary and so many other things that you're involved with, how did that evolve? Because I know, like most of us, when you start in your business, I didn't get into this thinking, you know what, community work is going to be a big part of this. It just kind of evolved for us, and we knew it was important. So how did that occur? Rotary, I know Gaston County Museum, just other things that you've been involved with. How does that tie in, and how do you view that?
Well, a lot of it's kind of the path that a lot of people that go into Rotary, what brings them into it. So Alfred Current had talked to me about Rotary, and he said, I think that'd be good for your business. And I'd been thinking, I need to get more involved in the community and all. And I'm like, well, that sounds like a good way to do it. So, and this is kind of twofold. So as far as Rotary goes. So anyway, I visited Rotary, and I think it's really cool because it's full of leaders.
And you had to walk, a couple hundred yards?
Well, yeah.
At the time?
So, and I'll get to that. So anyway, I'm like, and really with the programs that they have, you really get a really good sense of what's going on in the community.
Yeah.
History of the community, what's coming down the road.
You can sit with people who know the history of the community.
Yes, and just all this knowledge, and especially since we were considered the old man's club, there was a wealth of knowledge there. Teet Pearson, who recently passed away, and he'd been a Rotarian
close to 70 years, I think.
Yeah. So, and Don Warren and Bill Lawson and just
Caroline Garrison, Dr. Wagner. All these,
a lot of these
Bynum Carter
icons of the community. So I felt honored and privileged to even
I
be
agree.
able to do
That's
that.
how I felt too when I first started going.
So you dipped your toe in because I think this can help my business. But once you get into it, you're not doing it for that anymore.
Yeah, your business is helped by not having the attitude for it to help your business.
Yeah.
The community.
So as far as that they were meeting at the City Club, right behind my building. So of course, and Stephen been doing Sergeant of Arms forever.
That's right.
And it's like, the new people. That's one place you get introduced to Sergeant to the club. You help with Sergeant of Arms. So I helped with that, and it just so happened I just had to walk across the parking lot. So I got involved, and you and I kind of co-chaired that.
Yeah.
And we could count on each other, being there. And that was really helpful to get to know
it was
the membership
no question.
and all. So that's that with Rotary. On the other, getting involved with the community, it's twofold. It is smart business, but then you find out because we were having some people approach us and there have been some other jewelers in the community that were not as receptive to them, asking for things for like auctions,
sure,
things like that,
or sponsorships or whatever.
Yeah, so and I think where we first started helping was with through the arts and all, because that really fit. But it just evolved, and it's like, okay, that's something that we can do. And I've used this phrase quite a bit. We each have our unique abilities, and how can I say this? I'm not good with words sometimes.
Just
we each have the things
talents
that we can
skills
add.
and talents that we can add to the community.
Right, and I look at it as the story of Stone Soup. Okay, Are you familiar with?
I've heard of it, but you can refresh my memory.
So, guy comes into town and he's hungry, and he goes around to the different houses and say, well, can I have something to eat? Do you have anything to share? No, we don't have. We're poor. We don't have anything. Okay, and so he keeps getting that. So anyway, he comes up with an idea. He goes around and said, look, I'm going to make stone soup. It's delicious. And so he had this big pot in the middle of the village, and he puts like a river stone in the middle of it. And he's got water boiling. And he said, but to make this soup, I need some different ingredients. And so you'd have these different people. One person maybe has a little bit of meat. Somebody else has some onions, some carrots, some celery, some beans, some whatever. And so everybody's adding their little bits to it. And before you know it, he has this huge pot of stone soup that everybody
has contributed to,
and everybody is sharing. And they're having this delicious soup because they're all poor, they're all hungry, but they each added a little bit, and now they're sharing.
So together, they're making a big impact.
They're making a big impact together, and that's the way I see the business community and individuals can come together to help our community. I mean, you do it. You have certain things that you can do. I know you've helped with things, probably with Habitat and all, doing in-kind contributions.
Sure.
And that kind of thing. So that's what you can do.
Correct. Yeah. That's what we're good at.
Right.
I've been asked to do things that I'm not good at, and it's better for somebody else to do them.
so we're good at jewelry, and so if we can provide an item or something like that a nonprofit can benefit from. The latest thing is. And we've been helping, like, with cancer services for quite a while. Yeah,
I've been to those events.
And the Heart Society, the Heart Ball, which kind of fit in, and that's probably the first one we really got involved in because my wife was a coronary nurse.
Okay.
And so
there's always there can often be a connection like that, right? To get started with these organizations.
Right. And then with cancer services, unfortunately, I've had with my small business, I've had employees or spouses of employees and all have fought that battle with cancer, and some of them lost that battle. Some have won. So that one kind of hits home and all. But one of the latest ones, this is pretty cool, with Holy Angels. So Holy Angels is celebrating their 70th anniversary. And been talking with Ann Bogan there on how we could contribute something, because we usually contribute something that they can auction or whatever. So what we came up with this year, and we've done this in the past where they had their logo. It's a really cool logo. It looks like an A with the heart on it.
Okay.
But it's not an in-your-face logo. It wouldn't be like having GSM in diamonds, okay?
Yeah.
It's this nice artistic shape, and so we made that with diamonds in it. But to add to the necklace, I had several, diamonds of different shapes, marquee shapes, triangle shapes, square shapes, rounds, ovals, and all, smaller stones, maybe 15 to 20 points, which there are 100 points in a carat. So like a fifth of a carat. And so we did. It's called a diamonds by the yard necklace, where you have a thin chain, then a diamond, thin chain, diamond, so on, leading down to it. So we put that together with all these different shapes. Well, what that represents are the different abilities of the residents at Holy Angels. So they're excited about it, and they're with this. They're not just going to auction it off. They want to give more people a chance. So they're selling tickets, raffle
tickets for it,
for that.
Cool.
So we hope they.
Yeah, and you just mentioned multiple organizations who have been on our podcast. So listeners, if you're not familiar with anything, just go look those episodes up, and you can learn about these organizations like more detail that Brent's talking about that are all doing good work, right, in the community that you have helped along to allow them to do more work. So that's exactly why I wanted to have someone like you on, who I know, because just having a business here is a way to serve the community by having a place where you have employees. You're providing a service to the community, but you're also going to the next step that some businesses do, some don't, about getting directly involved in some of these organizations that are doing good work around the community.
Exactly, and one way to look at it is that I try to support organizations that are important to my customers also.
Sure.
Now you can't do everybody.
Yeah.
But I try to the ones that can have the most impact and all. One here lately that, just to put a pitch out, that really needs some help. I just joined the board of CAM, Crisis Assistance Ministry, in Gastonia.
It's probably time to have them back on. They were on 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, Kim Wheeler would be a good one. But they're, right now the need is getting larger and larger. I mean, our community overall is growing, and that means everything grows with it. I know there's a great need, and right now with this the government shutdown and stuff like that,
and uncertainty.
There's a lot of uncertainty. A lot of people depend on the SNAP program for food and all. That's looks like it may not come through this thing. So they're really under the gun to provide food for people to fight hungers. But they really could always use contributions of food or money, because they'll help people with rent, try to keep people from being.
They do multiple things. Most people think it's just the pantry they have over there, but there's more to it than that. That they're doing. So
they're really touching lives. In fact, that's one thing that the year I was Rotary president, the president has they have their help me with words, Stephen. Their thing that they want to do.
Yeah.
Their
grant or
they're using the grant money to
whatever initiative
their initiative. I had been thinking about a bus stop that would have Rotary on it, which is a good thing because they don't have buses no more. So that'd be a good thing.
It's just the micro.
We took a pivot and Rotary let us do this. So we took that grant money and the money contributed by our club to donate to CAM to help people with rent assistance.
Because some people weren't working during COVID, and there was so much wackiness going on.
To try to keep people in their homes or apartments or whatever.
Yeah.
And we called it this Operation Starfish, because you can't help everybody, but for the few that you can.
Yeah, that's a great little story analogy there, metaphor about being able to help the ones that you can.
That's right, and so you had an impact on someone's life. And all. It's just like with the Paul Harris fellows. If someone donates $1,000 to the foundation, and that's used to help with grants that are international grants, and then part of that money comes back to our community for the Rotary clubs that contribute a percentage of what their club contributes can be used in our community.
Yeah, here locally.
Yeah. So in that, when they do the Paul Harris presentation, someone, if they're honored, if they've donated $1,000, or maybe someone has donated $1,000 and they're honored to make them a Paul Harris Fellow. In part of that presentation, they say that, this contribution will help people that you will never meet.
Yep.
You will never know. And that's part of the beauty of it.
It is. I agree. But do it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, but you do it. It's helping somewhere, somehow.
So, Brent, I'm afraid you and I could talk all afternoon, the rest of the day, about the community. So, especially Rotary, CAM, things that we're both either associated with or really familiar with, or we've helped with. But I got to get Rachel back to work eventually.
Okay.
What's next for Brent? What's next for your community work? What's next? Just give us a short kind of what's next for Facet Foundry, and or is it just keep doing what you keep rolling what you're doing? Because that's kind of we're in kind of in that mode of we're just doing what we're doing.
Well, we don't live forever. Okay. I'm 64, and I'll be 65 my next birthday. So I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah,
but
that's a tough one.
But
I'm 10 years behind you, so
yeah,
I have started trickling into my brain.
Yeah, but
Rachel's gonna take it over.
My goal is that that it continues.
Sure.
With or without me, in some form or fashion.
Yeah, we do start thinking about that legacy, right? When we get a little older.
Legacy. I guess I think that's how you remembered and all. But I'm thinking. I feel like we fit a niche in the community and provide service to the community in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. I guess let me rephrase. I mean more legacy for the community.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just how you individually are going to be remembered.
I want the service that the business provides the community, whether it's the repairs, the ability to do custom jewelry, to repurpose. People inherit things that have meaning, and they want to put that in a different form, to do those kinds of things. The gold buying, so. Buying the metals, and then I'm sometimes I can reuse it. Sometimes I can just sell it to a refiner and make a little percentage on it. It's an additional revenue stream. But yesterday, and gold is about as high as it's ever been. So yesterday, a lady comes in. She had pieces that she had inherited from her late sister, passed away. No, it was her mother. So I have several come in. So anyway, I'm adding it all up. I'm going through. Some's costume, jewelry. It's plated, whatever, and I go through. And I come up and I totaled it up, and it was going to be like $4,250. We'll write her a check. Well, she starts crying.
Yeah.
She
probably had no idea, did she?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And I try to be fair to people.
Sure.
I believe in karma.
Yeah.
And I believe in the golden rule. Treat people as you would want them to treat you.
Right.
And love your neighbor.
That's a good one. That's a great story, and something that you probably see more often.
Yeah. So and you there's some heartbreaking situations and things too. But so just providing those services to the community, and then also the people working there that really enjoy what they're doing.
Right.
And also, but that's
okay. Well, listen, we got a couple more questions, Brent, and then we'll close this episode out. The question I love to ask, there's two questions I'd like to finish with. The first one is, this is a podcast about Gaston County. Listen, your business, your community involvement is one of the reasons that Gaston County is such a great place. But from your perspective, besides Facet Foundry, why would you say Gaston County is such a great place from your perspective?
Well, I think, especially being with Rotary, the people,
yeah,
the people, and then really where we're located is great.
Yeah, geographically, we are. Yeah,
we're in a sweet spot. I mean, our temperatures aren't crazy. Yes, we had a week we hit 100 degrees and all that.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
But our
well, at least for what we do, that's not a bad thing, Brent.
Yeah, you like to be colder.
That's right.
But as far as living here, we live in a good climate. We're less than 2 hours from the mountains.
Yeah.
We're now with the highways and all, we're 3.5 hours.
Three and a half
to
the coast. Yep.
So we're in a great spot, and also with Gaston County being located next to Charlotte, a big city, we can get the amenities of that big city, whether it's ball games, restaurants, whatever it is, but we don't have to deal with it every day.
We have to live
unless
there.
you happen to have to drive to go to work there. But we're in a growing community. There's opportunities for business and all. I hope that our elected officials really look at some of the growth and how that's happening.
Yeah, it's hard to deal with.
I know that's a challenge and all, but it's kind of our growth. I know some people don't really like the growth, but here's the thing. The tide is going to come in whether you want it to or not. Whether you agree, whether the tide exists or not, the tide is coming in. It's going to do what it's going to do. And so we have to prepare for it and adjust to it. But there's a lot of opportunity here, but I meet a lot of people that have moved here with what I do. They're trying to find a jeweler that were recommended, or they Google's become our best friend. And they've moved here from other places, and they love it.
Yeah, I agree. We see a lot of that too.
So we've got a really good thing. I think growing up here, sometimes I think, and not all of our history has been pretty, okay? So growing up here, you kind of know some of that. and for a long time, I mean, remember the Charlotte radio stations make fun of Gastonia, the mill, the mill people and the lint heads, and, make fun of the way we talked, which, by the way a lot of the mill people, their language was influenced because they came from the mountains.
Yeah.
It was a mountain dialect. So we were made fun of for a lot of years. Well, now we're getting to be the place to be.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that has shifted big time, in my opinion.
But it's great. I'm very fortunate to live in the same town that I
me too.
work.
Yeah.
How long is your commute?
Normal day, 12, 13 minutes. Yeah.
Less than 10 minutes. I mean,
it's good.
Yeah.
So, the last question I'd like to ask is knowing what you know now, Brent, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self? And we may have asked you that question 170 episodes ago, but I might be interested to go back and see if you give the same answer or something different. What advice would you give your 20-year-old self now?
20-year-old self.
Just a couple years ago.
Put all that you can in the stock market.
That is something you don't think about when you're 20. I didn't, for sure.
Yeah,
I had nobody telling me that or thinking about that or I was worried about,
No, the one thing I wish they would teach to even younger than 20 years old is the power of compound interest.
Yeah, that's a great point.
The power of it and the danger of it.
Yeah.
So, having that. As far as other things, don't get too stressed out. I like that saying. Things usually aren't as bad as you think.
Yeah.
They're usually not as good as you think.
Yeah. I like the same vein. It's like this too shall pass. If something's good, this too shall pass. If something's bad, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
But the things that I thought were bad and a big deal at 20, they weren't. No. Most of them were not. I just thought they were a big deal at the time.
Yeah.
That's good.
All my experiences when I was younger and all kind of led down this path. And, there are times when I would say, okay, what if I'd been an art teacher? I would probably been pretty good.
Yeah.
And
I think there's multiple paths people can take. I think it's rare that that somebody has that one passion and that's what they're able to That's a super small percentage of the population. Matter of fact, that even scares me when I hear people telling young people, chase that passion no matter what. I said, well, I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player. Pretty prevalent. It was pretty obvious. And when I was a senior in high school playing baseball, I wasn't going to be a Major League Baseball player. But, if I had chased that, I would have wasted some time probably. Not that was necessarily a bad thing, but I'm just saying I'm more of a bring your passion to whatever you're doing, bring that passion for people and for helping others and for, to whatever you find yourself. Wherever you find that path going, bring that passion with you. And I think that's the more common, prevalent, road to success than chasing some passion you had, or when I was 8, if I chased some passion, I want to be Spider-Man. Yeah. Right. I'm being a little sarcastic, but that's something interesting. So, Brent, this has really been good, man. I appreciate what you do. Our community is better off because you and Facet Foundry are here. Any last words for our listeners before we close this episode out?
Well, there's a book I would recommend.
Okay, absolutely, please.
Okay, and this is, and you when you hear this book, you're going to like, what? But Band of Brothers.
Stephen Ambrose.
And, okay, you may think, okay, this is about this journey of this group through World War II and all. But read it as a way to learn about leadership.
Yes.
And the different kinds of leaders that were in this book. It's an
captain, lieutenant, captain, and then Major Winters is a terrific model for leadership if you want to learn about somebody. Yeah, but it's not just him.
Not just him. And there's other leaders that come across as villains, but later on you're like, they were jerks. They were.
Yeah.
You could use stronger language. On that.
Captain Sobel.
Captain Sobel.
So you can learn what not to do as well, right?
Well, but also some of the things he had them do saved their lives.
That's fair.
Later on.
Absolutely.
With him.
So it's a great. Obviously, a lot of people are familiar with the miniseries, which is terrific. And matter of fact, in my opinion, one of the best pieces of, theatric anything ever made. But there's 2 books too. He wrote another book. I can't remember the name of it. It's more of Band of Brothers or something like that. But
read the book first.
But read the book. But but so many books too. You get so much more out of the book. Yeah. So many more stories, so many more instances, and then they'll take some creative liberties. And anytime they're doing something, they're trying to translate what really happened. But that's a great example.
But with leadership, and your leader of this organization, you and Joel, and there's certain expectations that you have, and one thing with leadership, some people are born leaders. Sometimes you learn on the job.
Yes.
And you get better as you go along. So I would love to take what I've learned about leadership at this point to transfer it to that younger.
Oh, no question.
Version,
Yeah. No question. You would think, you become smarter and better leader over time and experience. You think I would by screwing up, by failure, and unfortunately, that's the greatest teacher. And you think I would be an expert by now at a lot of things, as much as I've made mistakes and failed here. And so where can people go to learn more about Facet Foundry? I'm assuming you got I know you do. You got a great website. Where else can
well, the website, and if you've been a customer, we capture customers' information, email address, and stuff like that. So we send out, unless you unsubscribe, I've got a really great marketing person, Michelle Evans, who does a really good job of sending out information, doing some Facebook posts, that kind of stuff that I'm really not good at.
Yeah. We have.
It's not in my wheelhouse.
We have professionals like Rachel here, who that's a lot of stuff that they do, and which is so out of my wheelhouse. Yeah.
So, there's that, and, you can come by the business and all. But
yeah, listen, I will just, one quick story is, you may not remember this, but, my wife had an heirloom from her grandmother ring that was damaged. And man, you guys did a number on that thing to repair it and bring it back to life, so to speak. And that's the kind of thing that, it's one thing to go buy new jewelry. I mean, I've gotten stuff from you, stuff for my wife, stuff for, myself. But that repair, that was so much more meaningful than anything else. So, yeah. I mean, that's the kind of thing that is unique, and maybe you might not, that is harder to find, I'm assuming, than, just going about buying a new piece of jewelry. And then, of course, all the custom, stuff that you guys do.
Well, and one thing I didn't mention is with the custom, my son works with me.
Okay.
As our CAD designer. And that's a whole story in itself.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure how that's done in design, that's different now than probably when you first started, huh? With stuff like CAD and imaging and all that.
Hand carving wax patterns was when I was doing. Now, Ben is his name, and he touts himself as a digital sculptor, and so he's creating the piece virtually and then 3D printing the pattern that's used to cast. So the creativity that takes and
completely
also,
different.
Yeah, but it's a neat business. It really is. There's a lot to it.
Yeah. Well, go see Brent. Talk to him about leadership. Talk to him about community. You'll learn a lot. Come see us at Rotary. We're recording this on October 30th, so Brent and I are probably getting ready to head over to the conference center for our weekly Rotary meeting. We don't talk about that enough, but people are more than welcome to come visit us and see us. And there's also so many other organizations that are looking for volunteers again, and you can get involved with. So I appreciate it. Again, Brent, thanks for your time today. Thanks for what you in your organization do for our community and to our listeners. Thanks for taking the time today to listen to today's episode. Please continue to spread the word if you can about the podcast. And please don't hesitate to contact us here at the email address, which is podcast@gastonsgreat.com. We're always looking for suggestions for future podcast topics and guests. You can find the podcast and subscribe at the website, gastonsgreat.com, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And please follow us on all our social media platforms. Thanks again to Brent Messer for being our guest today. Gaston's Great is produced and brought to you by Rachel Cowart from GSM Services. I'm your host, Stephen Long. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and please keep coming back to hear more reasons why Gaston's great.